practicing fiscal responsibility and returning millions back to the taxpayers, proving that he can operate. He is not requesting more deputies. He's actually eliminated 12 positions, and no one, I think, in this county has seen the quality of service go down based on a new strategy of making sure that we're protected. When he ran, he said that this was an issue. We're the only county in the state of Maryland that has the 287G ICE program. Over 1,000 detainers have been placed on illegal aliens that have committed crimes here in this community. The purpose of the pledge card is, like I said, it costs about $8 per person. If you'd like to donate, we're going to the next county. And we're going to keep showing this film. The sheriff's going to come right with me. We're going to make this a statewide issue. We're going to make this part of the campaign. We're not going to be politicians that run from it, scared to talk about it. We're going to take it head on because we got to get this country straight. With that, and if you do fill it out and decide to do that, and you decide to make a cash contribution, please fill out the paperwork appropriately, because if not, I've got to donate it to, I believe it's the state, so they don't need more money. Make sure if you do, fill out the paperwork appropriately so we can get along. My mother's my treasurer. She likes to keep a tight ship. Wave, Mom. There she is. I got it right. No tip to see my uncle here. Wave your hand, Uncle Fred. Right there is the young right there. We ran a small business and employed people, one of the most successful youngs we have. So with that, I introduce the second by Fox News, but number one by the Frederick community, the toughest sheriff in the United States of America.
Good evening. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to review this documentary on the one single issue that I think impacts our lives and the future of the country. And before I get started, there's a young man passing around a flyer with a very nice caricature of myself and Blaine Young. And he said to me, he said, there you go. He said, "Sheriff, I'm making you famous." I said, "No, you're letting people know I'm doing my job." I'm going to introduce my mother tonight, my mom and dad, and Joey and Gordon Jenkins. Mom, you're not collecting money, but you're always campaigning for me. I'm going to be pretty brief here tonight, but what you're going to see here tonight is the truth about illegal immigration and how this issue impacts Americans in terms of national security, public safety, health care, education, availability of jobs, wages, the welfare system, public health, state and local budgets, and quality of life. What you're going to see on film is very similar to my message and what it's been over the past 5.5 years as sheriff, your sheriff. You're going to meet a sheriff in this documentary, Sheriff Larry Deaver of Cochise County, Arizona. I've met him. I work with him on the National Sheriff's Association Immigration and Border Control Committee. This honorable sheriff is doing his very best to save his state, his county, and his citizens, and the federal government is simply turning their backs on the people of Arizona, Texas. They're turning their backs on us. You know, there's going to be a lot said in this documentary. I believe our social structure is such that we can sustain our own citizen population, including the elderly, young people who need, people that need welfare, need help. I believe we can do that. Last year, the cost of illegal immigration in Maryland was $1.7 billion. And that number only includes K through 12 education, incarceration, and emergency health care. Only 3 categories. You know what our deficit is in the state of Maryland this year? If I want to guess, $1.7 billion, that same number. Many other costs that are tied directly aren't even included in those numbers. Nationally, the cost of those same 3 line items stood at $113 billion. That was in 2011. Those costs are compounded every year, increase each year, and over a decade reach trillions of dollars. Look at our national debts. I believe we've reached the breaking point in bearing these costs. And just as importantly, like we're going to see in this documentary, jobs are taken from Americans, jobs that we need and jobs that we will do. What you really need to take away tonight, really here, and I've got a pamphlet out front. If you haven't got one, get one while you can. They're in short supply. It's from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. It is President Obama's record of dismantling immigration enforcement. Please pick one up, take a look at it. That's what you really need to understand tonight, because since 2009, this administration has taken steps to almost completely dismantle any immigration enforcement in this country through the following: executive orders changing ICE enforcement programs and detainer policies, lawsuits against the states by the Department of Justice, lawsuits against sheriffs on the border states, ICE division heads and cabinet appointees that are sympathetic to illegal immigration and soft policies, failure to implement an E-Verify program nationally, effectively ending any worksite enforcement throughout the country, DHS and the Obama administration falsely declaring the border is safe and secure. Folks, it's not. Rescinding 287G agreements, closing Border Patrol stations, and most recently, by executive order, granting a total amnesty to illegal immigrants between the ages of 16 and 30 with certain conditions. And all that will do is basically give amnesty to anybody who gets on our soil between the ages of 16 and 30, to include criminals, drug traffickers, exponentially. The other important thought I think to take with you tonight is simply this: we have no leadership in the White House, we have no leadership in this state, none in the Senate, none in the Congress. We don't have one single candidate that's making this an issue, except this man right here in the state of Maryland. Very honestly, if you listen to the debates, you listen to the conversations, no one talks about it. They're ignoring the problem, ignoring the issue. If we continue the immigration policy as it is, I believe we're headed toward collapse in just a few short years, maybe a decade. I don't know if we have that long. Look at the numbers. Consider the lifeboat analogy. If you're in a lifeboat, middle of the ocean, how many people do you bring aboard before you collapse yourself? That's kind of where we're at. The question becomes, how long do we have? I strongly believe that we can effectively close and secure our borders. You'll see the sheriff on here say that. We can remove illegal immigrants from our country in accordance with federal laws, as we should have been doing for decades, and elect leaders in all governments that will lead the way on this issue. So after the presentation tonight, how much will you be willing to do to go out here and push this issue, address this national pending disaster, to, I believe, save America? So Mr. Lynch is not here, but I wanted to personally thank him, and I will, for making this documentary available. Thank him for being in Frederick to help us present this. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll just say this: the cost of doing nothing is going to be enormous. Everything's on the line for America. So thank you for being here tonight. Enjoy the movie, and myself and Mr. Lynch will be back to answer some questions after.
I do want to just ask all the elected officials that did come out tonight for this issue. If the elected officials can rise. I know that we got a commissioner from Cara County, Rothschild, commissioner from we will see you after the movie. Let's get started.
Move the podium. Yes, we are. No problem. Recycle that. Add that for a test.